Professor used the evolution theory from the viewpoint of Christianity, the thorough analysis of the descent or origin of man, Lecture 9, Chapter 6, on the affinities and genealogy of man. Even if it be granted that the difference between man and his nearest allies is as great in corporal structure as some naturalists maintain, and although we must grant that the difference between them is immense in mental power, yet the facts given in the earlier chapters appear to declare in the plainest manner that man is descended from some lower form, notwithstanding that connecting links have not hitherto been discovered. Man is liable to numerous slight and diversified variations, which are induced by the same general causes, are governed and transmitted in accordance with the same general laws as in the lower animals. Man has multiplied so rapidly that he has necessarily been exposed to struggle for existence and consequently to natural selection. He has given rise to many races, some of which differ so much from each other that they often been ranked by naturalists as distinct species. His body is constructed on the same homological plan as that of other mammals and passes through the same phases of embryological development. He retains many rudimentary and useless structures which no doubt were once serviceable. Characters occasionally make their reappearance in him, which we have reason to believe were possessed by his early progenitors. If the origin of man had been wholly different from that of all other animals, these various appearances would be mere empty deceptions. Such an admission is incredible. These appearances, on the other hand, are intelligible, at least to a large extent, if man is co-descendant with other mammals of the same unknown and lower form. Some naturalists, from being deeply impressed with the mental and spiritual powers of man, have divided the whole organic world into three kingdoms: the human, the animal, and the vegetable. A difference in degree, however great, does not justify us in placing man in a distinct kingdom. The difference in the mental powers of two insects, namely a cockroach or scale insect and an ant, is greater than, though of a somewhat different kind from, that between man and the highest mammal. Nevertheless, the two undoubtedly belong to the same class. Naturalists have long felt a profound conviction that there is a natural system. This system must be genealogical in arrangement, that is, the co-descendants of the same form must be kept together in one group, apart from the co-descendants of any other form. The amount of difference between the several groups is expressed by such terms as genera, families, orders, and classes. As we have no record of the lines of descent, the pedigree can be discovered only by observing the degrees of resemblance between the beings which are to be classed. For this object, numerous pointers of resemblance are of much more importance than the amount of similarity in a few pointers, for they can hardly be due to adaptations within a late period, and thus they reveal the old lines of descent or of true affinity. Recently, Rinne have placed man in the same order with the quadrumana under the title of the primates. The justice of this conclusion is as follows. Firstly, the great development of brain of man is comparatively insignificant for classification. And secondly, nearly all the other and more important differences between man and the quadrumana are manifestly adaptive and relate chiefly to erect position of man. Consequently, there is no justification for placing man in a distinct order, as small unimportant points of resemblance between man and the quadrumana are not commonly noticed in systematic works, and as, when numerous, they clearly reveal our relationship. I will specify a few such points. It must not be supposed that the resemblances between man and certain apes in the above and in many other points, such as in having a naked forehead, long tresses on the head, etc., are all necessarily the result of unbroken inheritance from a common progenitor or of subsequent reversion. Many of these resemblances are more probably due to analogous variation. If the anthropomorphous apes be admitted to form a natural subgroup, then as man agrees with them, not only in all those characters which he possesses in common with the whole catarrhine group, but in other peculiar characters such as the absence of a tail and of callosities, and in general appearance, we may infer that some ancient member of the anthropomorphous subgroup gave birth to man. It is not probable that through the law of analogous variation, a member of one of the other lower subgroups should have given rise to a man-like creature resembling the higher anthropomorphous apes in so many respects. No doubt, man, in comparison with most of his allies, has undergone an extraordinary amount of modification, chiefly in consequence of the great development of his brain and his erect position. Nevertheless, we should bear in mind that he is but one of several exceptional forms of primates. According to E. Haeckel, as man from a genealogical point of view belongs to the catarrhine or Old World stock, however much the conclusion may revolt our pride, that our early progenitors would have been properly thus designated. But we must not fall into the error of supposing that the early progenitors of the whole simian stock, including man, was identical with or even closely resembled any existing ape or monkey. It's because we are far from knowing how long ago it was when man first diverged from the catarrhine stock. Furthermore, nor should it be forgotten that those regions which are the most likely to afford remains connecting man with some extinct ape-like creatures have not as yet been searched by geologists. Now, as organisms have become slowly adapted to diversified lines of life by means of natural selection, their parts will have become more and more differentiated and specialized for various functions from the advantage gained by the division of physiological labor. But each organism still retains the general type of structure of the progenitor from which it was aboriginally derived. In the great kingdom of the Vertebrata, it has culminated in man, but no one can at present say by what line of descent the three higher and related classes, namely mammals, birds, and reptiles, were derived from the two lower vertebrate classes, namely amphibians and fishes. Thus we have given to man a pedigree of prodigious length, but not, it may be said, of noble quality. Shalom Aleichem.